From the moment of your birth, you have been taught to worship 5 false idols. You have learned to become a faithful servant to 5 great tyrants. The first is your eyes, the second is your ears, the third is your sense of touch. The 4th and 5th idols are taste and smell. These 5 senses have drawn the borders of your known world. They keep you bound to the endless parade of so-called facts, and you have been conditioned to accept them as the ultimate reality. They show you what appears to be a complete picture, and you call it proof of life. They diagnose and define your experience like a doctor handing you a verdict, and you call those verdicts facts. They close certain doors before you and convince you that what remains is the only possibility in this world built upon the testimony of the senses. It all seems ordinary, logical, even absolute. And the moment you surrender your faith to that illusion, you remain forever a subject of its culture and its circumstances. You keep reacting to a world perceived only through a narrow keyhole of limited perception. But I am here today to uncover a deeper truth, a truth and a right that exist far beyond what your senses claim to be real. Today you will learn not only why you must ignore that so-called reality, but also how to create what you truly desire. You will learn the art that overturns this ancient way of perceiving your world, an art that will give you full, undivided acceptance of the truth of your genuine desire. But if your senses are not the essence of truth, then what is the answer? It is the very power you use in every moment of your life, though you may not yet realize it. It is your magnificent human imagination. Your imagination is the deepest truth of your being, the essence of the Creator's child within you. Imagination is not fantasy. It is the one and only true reality. It is God within you, in motion. The world you perceive through your 5 senses, the so-called world of solid facts, is nothing more than a world of limitation, which you yourself have imagined into existence. It is a world of shadows you hold within your own consciousness. And it is not this shadow world that creates your reality. You create it by expressing outward what has already been formed within, through your experiences and through the experiences of those who came before you. To disregard the reality imposed upon you by your senses should not feel like a struggle. It is simply the deep understanding and acceptance of your own responsibility, and a little discipline, while the old patterns attempt to pull you back into forgetfulness. It means refusing to be hypnotized by what the mirror of the outer world currently shows you. It means extracting from that reflection only the light, the very light that mirrors your inner Creator. To live in the end, in the state of the fulfilled desire, is to create a sovereign, unconditional, and unwavering assumption of the accomplished fact. It is not a battle, it is a quiet, inevitable faith that your wish is already a realized fact. And you do this not through struggle in the outer world, but through the only world that truly matters, the world within your thought. Listen carefully to my words. You do not create with the thoughts you will think someday, once your wish is fulfilled. No, you are creating right now, in this very second, with the thoughts and the state of being in which you presently dwell. The feeling that connects the assumption to its material manifestation is not a loud emotion, but a quiet acknowledgement of your heart, a soft whisper of your spirit, of your I am, that would already belong to you if your desire had long been a simple and accepted fact of your life. Ask yourself now, if I already were the person I wish to be, how would I feel at this very moment? And you will realize that it is not ecstasy, not rapture, not something grand or solemn. All that may come at first, but then it becomes familiar, natural, a quiet satisfaction, a gentle sense of normalcy, calm understanding, and gratitude. And that, precisely that, is the state you must learn to possess. It is the essential shift that separates desire from its materialization. You will no longer be the person who waits and pleads. You become, first in your inner world, the person who has long and steadily lived in that desired state. And when you accomplish that new shift, that new state within yourself, the sensory world cannot help but adjust to the new identity you have become. Now you understand the principle that your thought is the only genuine reality. Let us then learn to use this power with discipline and with love. This is a practical method. So the first step, you must define your end state, the state of your fulfilled desire, with absolute clarity. Know exactly what it is you truly wish for. Do not be timid or falsely modest. If you desire wealth, what does being wealthy mean to you? Is it safety, freedom, a sense of absolute confidence and protection, the ability to buy a beautiful home or apartment? In your divine, life-giving imagination, create specific results, concrete facts of what your wealth looks and feels like. Second, create a single, simple scene, just one. That scene must represent an event that takes place after your wish has been fulfilled. It must imply that your desire is now a normal part of your life. For example, if you wish to be a celebrated actor, do not imagine the audition. Instead, picture a friend walking beside you, smiling, saying, "Congratulations on the success of your new premiere." If you wish for a new home, do not imagine searching for it. Instead, see yourself standing in your own hallway, feeling the keys in your hand, thinking, "It's so wonderful to finally be home." Keep the scene short, quiet, and intimate. That is your target. Third, the state between wakefulness and sleep. Return to this scene each night as you enter the drowsy state that opens access to the subconscious. This is the portal, the most sacred moment of your day, the moment when you impress your subconscious mind. It is that borderland of half sleep, just before you drift into slumber. This state is part of your spiritual armor, your instrument on the path to the realization of your desire. To enter it, you must completely relax. Let the past day go. It is gone forever. Breathe deeply and allow your restless, analytical mind to take a vacation. It has worked enough today. Now you are on your way to deep sleep. Your mind sleeps, your body sleeps. But one thing does not. Your divine imagination, which dwells not in your intellect, but in your heart. And finally, the fourth step. Live out your chosen scene from the first-person perspective. You must not look at it as though you were watching a movie as a spectator. That is one of the most common mistakes. You must be inside the scene. You must see through your own eyes. If your scene involves touching the hand of a loved one, then feel the real pressure, the warmth, the texture of the other hand in yours. If you are in your new home, touch the wall, feel the texture, the temperature of the table's surface. Now, truly engage all of your senses. What do you hear? What do you feel? What scents fill the air? Create this inner world so vividly, so alive, that it pushes aside the apparent reality of the physical room around you. And most importantly, feel the emotions. Feel the quiet joy, the deep satisfaction. This must become your natural state. It is not about perfection. It is not about rigid discipline. It is not about following my instructions flawlessly. It is about the feeling you become, the emotional identity you assume, as you live through your scene again and again, until it feels so natural that you begin to confuse the imagined future with the memory of a real event. That is what this truly means. Do not strain, do not force it. Simply relax into the feeling and fall asleep in the state of the fulfilled wish. If you do this, you will unlock the key to the one and only state that creates reality. You may think this sounds beautiful in theory, but is it truly possible? Let me share with you a simple yet profound example of this law in action. Among my listeners was a woman who longed for a particular apartment. That place represented to her a new beginning, a haven of peace and security. She desired it intensely, yet by every external measure it seemed impossible. She had no money and was renting a miserable little room, more like a closet than a home. She could have remained imprisoned by her senses, focused on facts, on diagnoses of limitation, on the impossibility of her wish. But instead, she chose another reality, one born in her divine imagination. She chose to live in the end of the fulfilled desire, many times every day. And most importantly, when she entered that sacred state between waking and sleep, she did not merely visualize the apartment, she felt herself living there. It became her normal state. As a completed fact, she walked again and again through her imagined rooms, not as a visitor, but as their rightful owner. She arranged her perfect space. She chose her furniture and fixtures. She felt the texture of the new curtains. She smelled the aroma of coffee brewing in her kitchen. She felt the cool brass of the faucet beneath her fingers. In her imagination, she allowed no room for doubt. In her reality, she did not strive, she did not beg. She simply and quietly assumed the state of the accomplished fact. And what was the result? Through a sequence of astonishing yet natural events, circumstances no one could have predicted, she received her apartment. It was no longer a dream. One morning, she simply awoke inside the very picture she had so often seen in her imagination. Her story is living proof of this truth. Her nightly act of imagination was a quiet, steady assumption, one she never contradicted nor doubted during the day. It was the period of gestation of her desire and of its perfect birth. And now we come to the final and most sacred secret in mastering this art, the act performed before sleep. It is that moment when you plant the seed in the soil and know that for it to sprout successfully, the seed must remain in the ground, gently watered and left undisturbed for a time. Isn't that true? In the same way, when you learn to live from the end, you cannot plant the seed and then doubt whether it was planted. You cannot expect a harvest if you keep digging up the ground every day to check whether the seed is growing. So it is with your desires. When you doubt your wish, when you constantly check the facts that seem to contradict it, you separate yourself from the state of fulfillment. You return to the state of wanting instead of being. Thinking from the end is not like wishing for pregnancy. It is being pregnant and knowing that, in its proper time, the child will be born and you will hold it in your arms. It is a state of being, not of waiting. Throughout your day, you must consciously practice this awareness, especially when something unsettles you. Ask yourself more often, if my desire were already a fact, how would I feel now? What would I think? What would I believe? Then assume that behavior, that feeling, that identity, and become it. If you desired financial freedom, you would not feel fear or anxiety. You would feel calm, protected, abundant. So assume that calm, Assume that your finances are unlimited. If you desired to be generous, you would not feel greed. You would feel gratitude and joy in sharing what you have. Assume that peace when you pay your bills. Assume gratitude for the privilege of using what you pay for. It must never feel like strain. It is a gentle yet powerful redirection of your attention back to the assumption of your desired reality. When the world presents you with contradictory evidence, remember, it is only the echo of an old film reel playing its final scenes. The movie is ending, and soon the new one, the one you are now directing, will begin. This is the quiet yet unshakable knowing of what your reality truly is. That is what it means to live in the end. It is the feeling of naturalness. And when your new condition feels completely natural, the outer world must, and inevitably will, conform to it. Do not let your senses and perceptions interfere, leaving your vision a mere mirage. Make it your lived experience. Choose the reality you wish to embody, and from this moment forward, live from that end, as though it were already so, because in the only reality that truly matters, it already is. Live in the state of the fulfilled desire, not in waiting, not in pleading. What you now assume, that is your only reality. It is your genuine truth. Give it space to unfold. Bear witness to it as the living power of the Creator's child within you. Do not look back. Your fields are already sown, and the hour of harvest will come at its perfect time. My friends, if you find value and inspiration in the lectures and wisdom we share here on our channel, please support us with your subscription and your like. Share in the comments what resonated with you most deeply and what you will begin to practice in your life today. And be sure to return to our channel, Worldwide Miracles, for new life-changing insights from the teachings of the great masters. Thank you for watching, and may every blessing be with you.